What's up, everybody? It's Court and Amy on ImmaLetYouFinish, show number 169, again, evidently.
Yeah, we're just going to keep repeating it.
But this time it's actually
It
show
actually
number
is.
169 on the Pantheon Podcast Network. We're here in New York. I guess this supposed to be it's Tuesday. You guys hear this show is Thursdays.
No, it is Tuesday.
But
why?
Evidently...
Have you heard something different?
Isn't it there's supposed to be another storm or something coming?
No.
I was waiting for the one on Saturday. I was like, well, it rained.
No. It's supposed to rain a lot, and upstate is going to get hit. Con Ed keeps sending Con Ed, which is our local.
No, I keep getting all of the things, too,
these
like
alerts,
the storm
and
alerts.
I'm like, what? No.
I'm like, there's nothing that we in the five boroughs can do but sit and hope that our area doesn't flood if it's prone to flooding. Like,
well, you're good. You're good,
do.
And I'm good. We're on hills.
Yeah, I'm on a hill and I'm high.
I'm on a hill. Yeah. I'm on a hill. But anyway, yay. All right, so here I'll go to do one of my patented set. As far as I'm concerned, we can take everything off the rundown today and spend as much time talking about Katt Williams as Katt Williams spent talking about Katt Williams.
Let me just tell you something.
First off, he's fucking hilarious.
He's
hilarious. Larry, I've interviewed him, but I don't remember it. But I have. Yeah, for XXL, they used to have me interview people that I don't remember it. And like most funny people, he's not like funny when you talk to him.
Absolutely, right. Yeah, yeah.
But he's hilarious.
It's like the treat that you feel like you didn't know you needed. So for all of you who've been living under a rock.
or I'm going to say it for most of our white listeners.
Right.
Because this very much is in a black space.
It really is. It's definitely like the black
Twitter.
It's a big black cultural moment. Yes. So Katt Williams, who's a stand-up comedian who's been around for a very long time, who I was just telling my sister, because my sister was like, yeah, he just played Dates here in Virginia and he sold out this theater. That's where they, Hamilton and everything plays. I was like, well, when he plays in New York, he plays Madison Square Garden and sells out. I don't think people realize because they think of these other guys and Katt, he seems that crazy guy. But when he's on tour, it's always like 2 nights at the Garden.
It's sort of like, he's like one of those guys, the equivalent, and then we'll get into the black comedians and there's comedians too, of like the Mexican singer we've never heard of, but yet is selling out weeks. So Katt Williams has been around for a while. He was in Friday. He had remember him as Florida Man on Atlanta? That was like the best thing ever.
Best thing. He was on Shannon Sharp's podcast called Club Shay Shay.
Okay, can we just stop right there? Mm-hmm. Am I supposed to take a show seriously? Shannon Sharp is of the heterosexual affiliation?
Yes, he is.
And he's a former football player?
Yeah, in the Hall of Fame.
Okay. I don't want to stereotype.
But Shay Shay
am I supposed to? Am I
supposed like a house for like an underground ball house?
Yeah,
kind of
like Shay Shay away, sashay. I just want to know why I'm supposed to take anything called Club Shay Shay seriously. But continue.
So, Katt, I want to say that Shannon has had this podcast now for about a year. So he's had a lot of different people on, including Cedric the Entertainer. He's had Steve Harvey. He's had a lot of people on. So it was Katt's turn to come on. And Katt clearly had a couple of items
on his checklist
that he wanted to get off his chest.
And a couple of bottles of something in front of them that they were drinking.
Well, yeah, they drink like a bourbon, usually like a bourbon.
Something, yeah.
Well, evidently,
oh my God, it's
for 2 hours.
No, 3. Excuse me.
No, it's 2 hours, 46 minutes, and 5 seconds.
Okay, it's brilliant.
It was bliss. Just shots fired around the world. Now, the funny thing is, I absolutely believe the majority of what he said. I do. I thought, some stuff I was just like, okay, he's giving.
And he was getting drunker. He was drinking throughout the interview.
He wasn't drunk. He was not getting drunker. If you watch it, I watched the entire thing. They don't end this and he's not drunk. That's the thing. He's not drunk. He's just saying all kinds of shit that some of it is all that behind the scenes world because people don't realize how cutthroat and nasty and how many feuds happen in that stand-up comedian world.
Well, especially for black stand-ups, because there is a lane. I mean, you're either there's always allowed to be. It's like women. There's allowed to be 3 at one time. So if you're not Chris Rock, Dave Chappelle, or Kevin Hart, then the rest of everybody else is scrambling for the crumbs.
Now, the interesting thing is some of the people who have not responded, which I'm like, the right response actually is to not respond, because if you feed the beast, then it goes away. The people who have not responded, and then the people who have responded, I felt like their responses were so lame. I was like, oh my God, what he was saying was right.
Let's explain. Let's go a little bit. I mean, so he was basically, from what I've seen, kind of talking about the hierarchy of black comedy. First off, he talks about the fact that Cedric has stolen jokes. This is a common complaint among comics.
Yes.
Dane Cook is notorious for being the guy that steals jokes. So this is,
him and Steve Harvey. They said Steve,
right?
He said Steve Harvey stole all of Mark Curry's jokes, and then they start playing all sort of clips. If you go online and start seeing interviews Mark Curry's done and been doing, he seems to be like, he stole all my shit. Then he said that Cedric stole jokes of his, and then people have kind of put up old clips of Katt doing the joke and Cedric kind of doing the joke.
So this is like, and then he talks a lot about sort of what male comics or male comedic actors, because Katt, like Martin Lawrence and Kevin Hart to some degree, are Mark Curry for sure, are also actors. And he talks about this sort of what he views as an emasculating aspect of, if a black male comedian actor, at some point they have to put on a dress.
Yeah.
Right. And that's an interesting conversation too.
Which a lot of black comedians have had that conversation around. Suddenly have to putting on a dress.
And that clip of Oprah with Dave Chappelle talking about it resurfaced too, where he got very adamant.
I find it interesting to me when we have that subject with black men when it comes to, like, some of them, when it comes to playing a character and they put on a dress, it's like, this comes back to black men and hypermasculinity, because white comics have put on dresses too, right? Like, everybody loved Jamie Foxx's Wanda. People think of Martin as Shanae as iconic. Flip Wilson was Geraldine. It doesn't make you gay if you put on a dress, but that always comes into the hyper masculinity of black men. Like, you could be a killer, you could play the killer, you could play the drug addict, you can play someone who walks out on your family, all of that's fine. But
don't make you put on a dress. Yeah, you put on a dress.
You put on a dress and all of humanity is going to stop. Well,
look at Will Smith. Will Smith freaking out because he had to kiss a man on screen in 6 Degrees of Separation.
When you decide to take a role playing a gay man.
Yeah, I mean, it's sort of like, I think we can all assume that when you're doing something in a movie, you are not actually that person. But yes, you're exactly right. I think that black actors and comedians, the masculinity is amplified. And Katt Williams is somebody who does not fit the stereotypical image of what a heterosexual man is supposed to look like. He's quite short. His outfits look like, I don't know what he is.
Sometimes his hair is pressed and out with a little flip at the end.
Yeah, no. He's out there, and it's kind of great.
No,
he's funny as shit. No, he's funny as fuck.
I mean, he just let everybody have. I put it on.
Oh, the Illuminati came in a lot too.
With Ludacris, and then Ludacris responded with some freestyle that was just kind of like, sir, you would have just been better not responding.
Just shutting up. I'm there for any Illuminati reference.
Right.
As soon as the Illuminati comes in the room, I am so there. Because as you know, Courtney, as a black man, when the white people want to hand over power to the world, they're going to give it to black men to run the world, because clearly, I mean, come on.
Black people's obsession. Let me just tell you something.
I love the
As soon as somebody is successful in our community, nobody's ever their talent. It's like the Illuminati. I'm like, are we ever going to be happy for somebody, or do we have to immediately put them? Oh, they're successful, so now let's rip them down. It's like the Illuminati. He put on a dress. All of these things. But let me just tell you something.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I said, let me just put this on. Let me hear because I kept seeing clips. I cannot believe I actually sat there for the 2 hours and 46 minutes.
Well, you do smoke weed.
Well, it wasn't even that. It was just kind of like,
It's a lot.
It was just one thing after another. And Shannon Sharp, after all, you could tell was just like, just don't even know.
There wasn't a lot of pushback, but Shannon Sharpe is like one of these people who pretends he's a journalist and he's not.
He's not a journalist. He's like us. You're a journalist, right? But when people come on this show, it's a podcast. We have conversations. He's not a journalist. He's never said he's a journalist, right? It's a conversation. So it's like, he'll ask things, but if somebody comes on, we've never like raked somebody in the calls and say, what do you mean? It's a conversation. It's different if you know you're going into sort of a journalistic interview. So personally, it's interesting that people are criticizing Shannon for that, because I'm like, he's had over 100 people or whatever on this show. No one's ever screamed there's no pushback. I think people are mad. One, I think some people are jealous because they would love if this had been on their show, because as of yesterday when I looked, this 2-hour, almost 3-hour clip had 34 million views. You know what I mean? It's like
Shannon Sharpe's career.
It's totally given him a gazillion more followers and all of the things, right? And for Katt Williams, he's smart. Katt Williams is a consummate touring artist.
Yeah.
His tickets, he already sells well. Now everybody's going to want to come to these shows. What else is he going to say?
Yeah, he goes after Kanye. I think some of his answers are great. He was like, why are we surprised about Kanye? We knew this about him from the beginning, and all you church people, and he's cursing. I could do without him referring to Kim Kardashian as a whore, because she's not a whore. She's not a whore. I don't like that, but that said, fine. His stuff about Jonathan Majors, and we're going to talk later. Oh my God, that's hilarious. What he said about Jonathan Majors. I don't know about the Harvey Weinstein part of, I believe that Harvey Weinstein asked Katt Williams to suck his dick, but either which way, it's a great joke, and who cares? And what's doubly sort of funny or ironic is that this interview comes out the same week when the Chappelle interview comes out. That came and went, the Chappelle interview. The Chappelle special.
I forgot that happened.
But that's to say, Katt Williams came out, and Katt and Dave Chappelle are good. They're not like there's any. I think it seems like he has issues with Kevin Hart. The stuff about Kevin Hart is just like Miss Thing. I was just saying, and Kevin's you're kind of like, huh?
And Kevin's response was something like, "We got to get out of here with that anger." I'm like,
that means you lost.
That means there's some truth in what he was saying there. There's some truth. Yeah, and the better part is, Tori Hart, Kevin's ex-wife, just announced that she's going out as an opener for Katt on his upcoming tour.
Oh, he was married to a comedian?
Yes, Tori Hart, who helped him. She really helped him. She was there through all of those years and wrote stuff with him, worked with him.
Oh, you mean like the Angie Stone to D'Angelo?
And then he started cheating on her and everything with this new chick and left her. They divorced, and now he's with the new wife, Oh,
Katt Williams has 8 kids?
And he adopted like 7 of them.
7, which is I'm just saying that's astounding to me. That he's adopted 7 kids as a single man. That's mainly my main point.
I love the complete sort of.
It's so good.
This is how you make a moment, kids. Everybody's always trying to fake moments, and this perfect motherfucker came too. The top of the new year. It's a little slow
People
period.
People are still waking up and figuring out what year it is. And you're like, and scene. No.
And you're like, you show up with a glass of bourbon, and evidently you're like, I have time today.
Right. And what I will, and I do have to say to my white brothers and sisters out there, this guy is just, I've been aware. I'm not like I'm special, but I know the name. I've listened to him. I've seen him in movies. He's just like, so funny and so smart, and does not give a damn.
Nope.
Does not give a damn, but not in a mean way, because what he has to say, and again, it's a conversation about black men. That's not a conversation I can have, but it's just pure funny.
And he did a lot of sticking up for Bernie Mac. You could tell Bernie Mac really meant something.
Bernie Mac to me is one of the great tragedies that he did. He was already big, but the Bernie Mac show stands to this day. That's Larry Wilmore, who's also behind Insecure and a lot of great stuff. Bernie Mac was so good and deserved to be massive. He did.
Well, here's the thing that's fierce too. There are people who've been coming out saying the stuff that he said about Bernie and Steve and the jokes, they're like, Bernie said those things to me out of his own mouth. His daughter, who was like, I don't really know Katt that well, but
Bernie Mac's daughter.
Yes, but she was like, the way he spoke about my father spoke about him.
Right.
It's, you know what I mean? So I think that there was some comedian in there. Like, I don't know, did you read 3,000 books, when you were 7 years old?
No.
That could be an exaggeration, right?
Well,
but I feel like you could read a lot. But I think a lot of shit that he was, I believed him.
I think it is, and also in these days of litigious and suing, he's not a dummy. He's not.
No.
And may I go on record as saying I've never gotten the Steve Harvey. I think Steve Harvey is oily.
I've never understood people's
he's
obsession
oily.
with Steve Harvey.
He's like somebody lecturing you. Those suits, the Steve Harvey.
And then we heard how he was to his staff at that talk show and how mean he was to them. I was like, yeah, you look like that person.
Yeah, and he's always lecturing women about what they should do in marriage. And I'm like, I'm sorry, who died and made... Yeah. But anyway, if you have almost 3 hours to kill... Like, if you're like me, waiting in a doctor's office or waiting for the train or whatever. No, it's really, really, really funny. And it will be very interesting to see what the next move is.
Oh, the next move is he's going to go on tour like he does. And people will be crammed in those shows. Yeah. Because now that cat's out of the bag, he's going to be in his shows.
No pun intended.
He's going to be in those shows. Well, he already let it rip. So now he's really going to let it rip.
Right, he's going to be, has he ever, not that that's the be all and end all, but has he ever had an HBO special or a Netflix special?
He's had a bunch of specials. He's had like 12 specials. He's
all
had
right,
a
but
lot of
like,
specials.
High profile.
He's definitely
He's going to get signed very quickly to
please. The calls.
Let's set the clock. The
calls
he's going to have a Netflix special out.
They are
He's going to have something out. And you know what? And again, and then I don't want to dwell on Chappelle, but he's addressing issues that some of us, find like, oh, really? Are we talking about men in dress? But he did it in a much more, he didn't demonize.
Right.
He just said, this is what happens. He didn't.
And I get if it's not for you. You know what I mean? It's such an interesting topic because to me it goes deeper into,
it goes very deep.
Black men and masculinity and what's the idea of masculinity.
Oh yeah, I mean, and the schism between white. Would he feel like they all have the same wife? Oh my God!
I mean,
and then they showed a picture of all the wives and partners of these guys, and you're like, again, not my joke to laugh at, but you're like, how they all kind of do look.
It's funny, especially when you look at it, you're like. Well,
yeah, there is a point. There is some truth. Yeah, no, he's a smart guy, and I just found it, and that it was a time where Miss Linden was very grateful to have lots of friends of the black experience, because I was like, yay, my timeline is filled with this.
Right. No, it has just been.
It's beautiful. It's a gift that keeps on giving.
Listen, this is the kind of kiki shit we like. This is the kind of shit we like. We were like, okay, come on, give it to us full throttle.
I know, I love it. All right, well, just in and out on the Golden Globes. I watched a little bit of it. I think we can. I mean, and I don't want to jump on Joe Coy because I think it's a no-win situation. I think you either have somebody being a stand-up and being a host are two totally different things. All right, I mean. You have to. And
I hate that he threw his writers under the bus, though. Like, don't do that.
That's what I'm saying. That's ridiculous. That's what Bill Maher
character does. Shit. I don't like that. Shows your character. It's bombing, then you fucking shit on your writer.
Right. It's like Bill Maher does that. You're not laughing because you're politically correct, not because I'm not funny. Right. I know who Joe Coy is. I've never seen his stand up. I do know who he is. So for people act like, who is this guy? You know who he is. He's not super well known, but he's another guy that is. And and this is the first year the Hollywood Foreign Press, they don't exist anymore. It's been sold. It's a company now. It's Dick Clark Productions was putting it on. I just think it's a no-win situation in terms of being the host, because you either have somebody who goes in there and goes for it, like a Ricky Gervais, who I think is very funny. He's mean, but he's very funny. Tina Fey and Amy Poehler, who are hilarious. that's not his crowd. Joe Foy is not part of Hollywood. So you can't have somebody who really is looking in on the glass and doing it. And the whole thing was just, so that was bad. Maybe
evidently he was hired at the last minute. He only had 10 days, but it's like.
Yeah, but still, even if you have 10 days, I
mean,
it was
cringy and terrible.
If you're really a comedian, you can pull it together. And the jokes were just kind of like, making a joke about Meryl Streep winning an award, tick, tick, tick. Making a joke about Robert De Niro getting someone pregnant, tick, tick. The Taylor Swift joke didn't. I mean, I'm sorry, Taylor Swift. That joke didn't even bother me. It just wasn't funny. That's the thing.
And she's giving icy glares from the.
Yeah, but or maybe she wasn't. Maybe she was caught in the middle of doing something, because that girl, as we've discussed, is no dummy and knows exactly when the camera's on her.
And that's why I know she was that face was stupid, because she's very aware that the camera is on her.
All right, but she's dating a football player and on TV every week. So thou doth protest too much, Miss Swift. Give me a break. But I do want to watch Anatomy of a Fall, because I've heard it's a fantastic movie. I'll have to find it on the interwebs. I have no say-so. I'm really glad that the woman from The Bear won, and I thought she was great. I haven't seen Beef.
I heard that's great.
Yeah,
I used to love
award shows are just kind of dumb.
Young. I don't know now. I don't really care about them the same way. Like when I was younger, I watched them all. You know what I mean?
Golden Globes don't mean anything. I mean,
they really don't.
And I'm not trying to be mean.
They really fucking don't. It's like if you could just sell the awards to someone else, and like, okay, now we're doing them. It's like, it's like I've always wondered who votes for an American Music Award. Well, where does that come from? And where does that come from?
I mean, we know where Grammy voters are. We know where Oscar voters are. We know where Tony voters are. We know where Emmy voters are.
It's like a Soul Train Award. Who votes for that? Why is that still a thing? Staff. And he's been dead for years. So
it's fun. It's a chance. People looked fabulous. The clothes were great. The stage design was a little weird because it seemed like they were walking around in circles to get up on stage. The ratings were better than they were last year. I'm very happy because an old colleague of mine, a great guy, Dayton Thomas, was now working with Dick Clark, and I'm really happy.
Is he?
Yes, he's with Dick Clark Productions now. I know. He was like an editorial assistant in XXL. Now he's
and then wasn't he
at Vibe?
Was he also at King? Was he the?
Yeah. It was all Harris Publications.
I was about to say.
Yeah. No, and it's just he couldn't be happier for him because he's the best.
We watched him go through the ranks.
Oh yeah. So he was an editorial assistant.
That's great.
He was like, get Amy out of the office because she's screaming at people. Like, no, I never screamed. Somebody else is screaming, get Amy out of the office. So I'm happy for him. I'm always happy when I see people I like a lot.
And a name that you know, and you're like, wow, all these years and you're doing the damn thing.
Yeah. And good. Dick Clark, come on. Dick Clark, for crying out loud. All right. The Lifetime Achievement Grammys are sort of, I don't know, they're kind of like, we kind of didn't acknowledge you before and we effed up, so here's something.
Well, no, because Donna Summer has Grammys.
And so does Tammy Wynette.
Yeah, Donna Summer has Grammys.
So the people getting it this year, all right, so the Grammys, NARAS has made a very concerted effort, to their credit, to diversify, to bring in younger, ostensibly hipper women for sure.
Well, mixed from a lot of the different communities that are represented.
Right. No, they're bringing for an advisory council. A lot of people you and I know. Sky, who was on our show, is part of that. They've been invited to come in. I think Tony Ferguson is too, actually. Our friend from Columbia. Anyway, so here's the people getting it this year. Tammy Wynette, no problem with that. Donna Summer, no problem with that. Clark Sisters, no problem with that. Gladys Knight, yes, 100
I wish it was
times,
with,
yes.
and I wish it was with the Pips.
Yeah.
I would, when I saw that, I was like, and not the Pips.
I know, because the majority
of a big chunk was Gladys Knight and
was
the
with
Pips.
The Pips. Yeah.
You know?
All right, Laurie Anderson, interesting choice. But
I was really happy about that.
Yeah, it's an interesting choice, but it's good. And here's the one that's like, are you kidding? And now you're pandering. N.W.A.
Well, I don't know, because they still they're still influential to some people. They really are. And all of the people that came out of that group, you know what I mean? That are still relevant and talented.
This is about giving Dr. Dre an award. I'm sorry. This is what it is.
Well, then you're taking out Ice Cube and the rest of them. You know,
but it's more. Yeah,
you don't. This is interesting because you were a hip hop writer at that time of N.W.A.
I hated N.W.A.
And you don't think that. So do you not think that period and them is something that has a lasting legacy?
Yes and no. I will give them I will give them this. First off, 2 songs matter with them.
Right.
2 songs.
One that can never be played on the radio.
Right. And another song. I can't. Straight Out Compton. Okay. Mm-hmm. The revisionist history about this group, and I know we're supposed to judge the art, not the artist, but the artists in these point are not great people. I'm sorry, they're not great people. I will keep saying that. I just feel like if you're going to acknowledge hip hop, and you should acknowledge hip hop, Eric B. and Rakim are way more influential. Tribe Called Quest are way more. Oh, the thumb came up again. Mm-hmm. See, I said Eric B. and Rakim, and the thumb came up in the thing. Eric B. and Rakim, De La Soul. I mean, let's go down. I just feel like N.W.A. is it's not that they're not influential. It's not that they're not talented. It's not that they didn't change a conversation, but it's a way of going, look at us. We're going to go edgy.
What I remember the most about the period of them coming out was the big debate and conversation about how they spoke about women in their music.
I remember
that. I remember that being a really big deal about their lyrics and kind of the way they referenced women.
Oh, yeah. I give them credit. Like I said, I was never a big fan of theirs, but I give them credit for shifting the focus from the East Coast to the West Coast because they really were instrumental in that.
Right.
I give them credit for injecting more the funk sort of elements. So I would say that's more Dre and
How many
Snoop
albums did they have?
2, I think. Maybe. No, I'm being serious.
No, I was about to say, because in my head, I'm thinking, I know of one. I don't really remember. Maybe 2.
They broke up very shortly. I mean, Cube went solo, and Eazy-E. I just think that I just think that this is a kind of look at us, we're so cool move. I'm sorry. I mean, I just think there are hip hop groups. It's not that these guys aren't important in their way, but there are hip hop groups that, to me, continue to kind of matter and aren't cloaked in the messiness that group had, because they've never.
You're right. It's literally 2 albums. It was Straight Outta Compton in 88, Niggas for Life in 91, and then they had an extended play, and then a bunch. There's a million compilation albums.
Right, there's a million compilations.
Literally, it was 2 albums.
And
they are seen as seminal, and they did make a mark. So I can understand why they would put them in there and say, okay, because it really was a moment.
How many hip hop groups are in? PE's in, right? I think, and Run DMC are in terms of this.
For Lifetime. I think Run DMC is in.
Yeah, I think PE too, for some reason. I think PE.
Salt and Pepper's in. Remember, Salt and Pepper got them. It was either last year or the year before. Remember, and Spinderella did get one, and we were like, are they going to give Spinderella one? And they did.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I just have a bugaboo about N.W.A, and I always have. And I just, that's my bugaboo. I mean, I know that I can't expect men to behave well. I just think there is a line when you're crossing the line between, it's one thing to talk about smacking my bitch up, which is annoying enough, but when you actually are smacking your bitch up and throwing your bitch down the stairs.
It's really interesting how that still comes up, but he really got he's the D Barnes situation was really bad. That was really bad. I remember when that happened, and that was just not good.
Well, it's amazing what happens when you start making a lot of people a lot of money, how they'll forget stuff, right?
Quickly. If you're really financially viable, people find a way to forgive you. They really do.
Very quickly. And he and Cube did one of those, if I offended anybody, apologies.
It's like, those are my favorite.
No, they are.
My favorite are ones where you read the statement and you're like, I've heard you talk for years. You don't sound anything like this.
None of these guys write these statements.
No, but the favorite part is they don't even write them in the voice of the people. It's always like this statement where you're like, who wrote that? And who's that for?
I think it's AI at this point. I think there's an AI prompt for I was accused of rape, put out the statement.
And on that note, we're going to take a commercial break and be right back.
Hey, Pantheon listeners. Christian Swain here, taking a break from listening to a little Shout It Out Loudcast episode. Love Tom and Zeus talking all things Kiss. Of course, I was listening to them on my new Raycon wireless earbuds. They have quickly become my go-to earbuds because of the comfort. These soft tips are the best I've ever used. And at this price, plus a Pantheon discount, Raycon is really hitting on all marks. Sound quality is great too. I really love having these 3 EQ options because I like more bass in the music, but less in my podcast. 8 hours of playtime for the battery is great as well. Surround sound, noise isolating, and awareness mode are all included. These are great earbuds. Go to buyraycon.com/Pantheon today to get 20% off your Raycon order plus free shipping. That's right. You'll get 20% off and free shipping at buyraycon.com/Pantheon. buyraycon.com/Pantheon. Hey, Pantheon listeners, Christian Swain here. Another day, another podcast I'm working on. This time, it's Famous and Gravy with Amit and Michael. I want to let you know that I loved the Factor Meals package so much that I re-upped for myself, and then I sent a package to my in-laws. Like I was with my first shipment from Factor Meals, the in-laws were as excited to try one of the prepared restaurant quality meals. Well, they got the shipment to Protein Plus meal plan and were very impressed. See, being in their 80s, anything to make the meal prep easy is a plus for them. They heated the oven per instructions and minutes later were enjoying a very delicious, nutritious, and dietitian-approved meal. One big win for me. But what really floored them was the taste. Like I told you, it's surprising how good these meals taste. Restaurant quality indeed. And like my own shipment, it really was everything Factor Meals said it would be for some seniors. No prep, no mess meals. Factor Meals are 100% ready to heat and eat. Take it from me and my in-laws. Head to factormeals.com/Pantheon50 and use the code Pantheon50 to get 50% off. That's factormeals.com/Pantheon50 and use the code Pantheon50 to get 50% off. Thank you, Factor Meals.
Hey folks, Stefan Shirazi and Renee Richardson here from the Metallica Report.
And we are proud members of the Pantheon Podcast family, where the best of music and podcasts unite.
We've got something pretty cool for you. We're giving away an exclusive Metallica merch package worth over $250.
That's a whole lot of Scary Guys, Skulls, M72, and other sought-after Metallica swag. And we've made it easy for you to win. Follow and share the Metallica Report, and you're in the game. Go to pantheonpodcast.com/Metallica, enter your email, and hit that button to be entered to win.
And just like that, you're eligible for our monthly exclusive Metallica merch package.
And guess what, rockers? You can enter every month, so just do it. And while we love our global brothers and sisters, the lawyers won't let us ship outside the U.S.
And we're back.
All right, so I don't know if you've heard of the singer Taylor Swift.
I don't know. Is she like new?
She's young. She's like a new Americana singer.
Okay.
Everybody's always like, oh, the press is obsessed with her, and yet people keep reading the articles, and she deserves the attention for her music. Yeah, I'd like her to go away for a little bit too, but you know what? Whatever. She's chosen to have a famous boyfriend. That's great. I do get a little annoyed that she's now lumped in as a wag. For Christ's sakes, the woman is way more than the freaking girlfriend. I'm sorry. And this is no disrespect to the freaking girlfriends of these guys, but this woman is
but it's like their whole thing is like the girlfriend of, and then, they'll have like a lash line or a wig line. Right. She's actually a quite accomplished person.
More so than him.
Kind of
more so than him. Okay.
Like all these people didn't know who he was. Now do.
I had no idea who he was.
Because of her, yeah.
All right. So there was a op-ed piece by a woman named Anna Marks in the New York Times a week ago. 5,000 words. 5,000 words.
Miss Thing, I want you to repeat. For people who don't know.
I tried to read it and I started skimming.
A 5,000 word piece.
It's a long piece.
In 2024.
It's
like
no, it's a lot.
People's main articles aren't getting 5,000 words.
No,
a 5,000 word. I was
on the op-ed page.
I was
prominent.
5,000 words.
Yeah. All right. So, and this writer had also, because I was like, where's the Harry Styles piece? This writer had done one in 2022 about Harry Styles, about the same subject. So this piece is called Look What We Made Taylor Swift Do. And the synopsis, to give the Reader's Digest Cliff Notes version, is Taylor Swift has been dropping all these hints and references and nudge, nudge, wink, wink, and this and alignments with the I'm just gonna. She keeps using the word queer. Please don't get mad at me, people. But I'm just gonna say queer because I'm queer. People, and maybe this is because we're not allowing Taylor Swift to be queer, and this, that, and the other, and the friendships with women are a way to. It was just all like.
It was some weird fantasy that this lady has, clearly like some weird crush on Taylor Swift. First of all, I think that's a very dangerous thing to do.
Well, she did the same thing about Harry Styles too. Yeah. It's like, oh, he does this and this, that, and the other. But what was it? I was going to let you finish. But there's 2 points. This first off, okay, on the negative, there's many negatives, but this is the New York freaking Times.
The New York motherfucking Times.
I mean, come on, guys. I mean, I know journalism, but this is the New York Times. And
the New York motherfucking Times.
And this woman is a staff editor for the Times. She's not somebody they brought in. She works at the New York Times. And I just don't understand what was gained by this, number one. Number two, it's kind of demonizing the idea of being gay.
Absolutely.
Like, maybe it sounds like there's something bad. You know?
It reminded me of... Do you remember that period in the 90s when we went through the outing period where people were just being outed publicly in magazine articles? That's what it almost felt like. It's like, even if you feel that way, why do you think it's your right in the New York Times to try to out someone? Because that's what it felt like. We're not giving her the space. She's dropping these hints. It's like, come on out, girl. I'm like, it was really, I found it offensive. I found it offensive for the Times. I think their credibility took an absolute hit with this because it was really poor judgment. And it just read like some creepy person who has some sort of obsession with Taylor Swift. It just did not feel... It just didn't feel right.
It's a piece, I don't know, an obsession with Taylor, because I think this woman, and we can't speak for her, Anna Marks, she did the same thing with Harry Styles.
Yeah, but at least I will say about Harry played with sexuality more, right?
Yeah.
So at least he played in that space a little bit where it's like, he felt very fluid. Taylor Swift, this just felt like a straight
girl. Taylor Swift is a straight girl.
Let me just tell you something. I'm just going to say it in the way that Amy wouldn't. When I look at Taylor Swift, it's clear to me that she likes dick. You know what I mean? She's not running around. She's not sneaking around being like, let me get some trim on the side.
And I will say that it's offensive to someone who's female friends, who's women.
You have a lot of female friends. I don't think you'll have some secret lesbian coven that I don't know about.
I would gladly say that I love my friend. Hi, Candace. I love my friend Candace. We always joke about that we are the most romantic. We have the most romantic evenings of our lives with each other. Nothing's happening. I love her as much as I've ever loved anyone. I am not gay.
Right.
And even if I was, who cares?
She's not gay. You're another one. I can tell. Amy likes dick. She doesn't want, like, it's so ridiculous.
Can that be our new?
We should put it on a t-shirt. I'm gonna let you finish. Amy likes dick, and on the back, ... and Courtney too.
I know. But Dick doesn't like me. We won't use that as the.
Let me just tell you something.
We won't use that as the teaser.
I'm 56 in the gay world now. It's like I'm invisible, honey.
No, you're a dinosaur. You're a dinosaur.
I walked into the bar and they started pulling out the paperwork. They thought I was the inspector coming in to do like a local inspection.
Dad, get out of here. But it's just offensive on that level, and it's also just it read more like this is the essay or you write for your academic dissertation. Like, why are we? First off, I think I've said this before. I want a moratorium on the word space unless we're actually talking about rockets going into space, or I need space in my closet. I want that word stricken. There's a list of words. Ann and I were talking about this. We want everything to stop being a verb. Stop it.
Everything.
Everything is not a verb. And I want the word space taken away. And I want people to stop using capping as something that it didn't mean 5 years ago. were we in the meeting when they decided to just unilaterally change what capping means? Because now I can't use that word because it's going to be misconstrued to something else. Thanks, Gen Z.
Like, listen, it's the same with queer, right? Like, for all my years growing up, calling somebody queer was not a good thing. It would be like a fight.
I mean, that is like, I mean, I understand that, but
what does it mean? Because,
what does
I'm
that mean?
gay. I don't call myself queer. I'm a
well, no
gay
one
man.
over. I don't think anyone over the age of 50 uses that term.
Yeah, it's like I'm gay. I'm gay. It's
I don't know it. But anyway, I just think it was just a dumb article because all it does is I think Taylor Swift. I don't know. I obviously can't speak. But I think Taylor Swift is powerful enough a presence right now that if she wanted to be out, she would be out, and that's it. And it just makes it sort of like something, again, that being gay is something you have to hide and circumvent in order to have a career. She's not a country music artist anymore.
I just thought it was irresponsible. And it's irresponsible of the New York Times. You're the New York fucking Times. Have a little bit more of a journalistic integrity. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I just thought it was gossipy and silly
and stupid.
It was a great academic. You know what? Do a book about that. Do one of those, I'm not, because it's a great series. This is a perfect Wild Taylor Swift Matters type of book.
Mm-hmm.
Go into a deep dive about that. But it was just like, and Harry Styles, okay, where's Fufi? Who cares? All right, so this was announced several months ago, but now it's like official Swiss Beats. And Alicia Keys are donate. Well, because they're getting it back. Yeah, they're going to have an exhibition of their collection of mainly American, I think, but Black artists at the Brooklyn Museum, which
starting
is great.
in February, right?
Black History Month.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
There's some kind of. They have to make sure that none of the works are available for sale because that's a conflict of interest.
What?
Yeah, there's something in the Times article. You can't have, when you have like famous donors, it can't be something they're trying to sell. You can't use the exhibition. But I don't think
it's like an exhibition place. But I don't believe they sell their art. They're avid collectors.
Yeah.
And they supposedly have an amazing beautiful collection. I'm really excited to
I think it's going to be great. What I think would be doubly great is if, because they have the money to do it. Mm-hmm. Not the Brooklyn Museum. The Brooklyn Museum has no money. Right. But if they didn't make this a separate ticket event, if they made this something where the general public, I
thought it was going to be that, but it's a separate ticket event.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
I hate that museums keep doing that. Right? It's like
fundraising,
and I get that, but then it's like charge your money to get in, and people should see everything in the museum.
Yes.
You know what I mean? They
Especially
really
this. I mean, this is so targeted.
And you want people to come see it. And it's like,
yes.
Make it accessible.
Don't treat it like, it shouldn't be.
Especially when they get somebody to fucking sponsor the show.
Oh, I don't know, like maybe Swiss Beats.
Exactly.
Or Alicia Keys. I think they literally could sponsor the entire run of this show.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying they have the obligation to do it. Please, Jay-Z could. I mean, anybody could. This is a very important exhibit in terms of exposing people, young people, old people, whatever, to art. It's very much community. It is a blockbuster show, but there's just no reason. I don't like these special. The Bowie one I understood because it was a traveling show and they had to spend money to bring it in, right? This is not a traveling show. This is going from their warehouse in LA to the Brooklyn Museum. Yes, of course, and museums are being cut right and left. I get it. But it would just be great if it was just, if it could be accessible to the audience they are clearly trying to reach.
Absolutely.
And so there's got to be some, and you know who's going to horn his way into the party?
Oh God, who?
Eric Adams.
Oh, Miss Thing, please, he's already there. Are you kidding?
Yeah.
He's sitting in front waiting for load-in.
I know. Can I hang this picture?
Right.
I know.
He's the worst.
We have to. Do you follow Michael Azarad, our pal Michael Azarad, right? Okay, Michael Azarad is God's gift to journalism on many levels, but he just keeps posting from Hellgate day after day after day of Eric. Now Eric Adams, by the way, is denying that he wrote the self-published book.
That's the best part. Eric Adams is denying something that Eric Adams said.
Adams wrote.
It's like,
and that he has campaigned on. He has campaigned on like, oh, my troubled youth, I shot a gun when I was a kid. He is now
shamelessness of Eric Adams.
He's denying that he wrote a self-published S-E, I'm going to spell it, S-E-L-F, which means you write it. Then he's saying, I never knew the book came out. So they're like, okay, well, did you get royalties from this thing? And then he's saying, oh, well, there was a ghostwriter and I never saw it. So if there's a ghostwriter, you're not I'm going to spell it again.
You have a book that you had a ghostwriter for. You didn't bother to read it.
Like, you didn't read it.
There's so many. He's
horrible. I'm saying he's lying about the stupid shit. He lies about stupid shit.
Because he knows he's one term. He knows it's a wrap.
I wouldn't put it past him to pull a Trump and pay people to storm City Hall.
No, here's the thing. But there'd be nobody Trump has people who actually like him. I think Eric's base, people who liked him, have slowly but surely peeled away from him. When we get closer to that mayoral race, you will see that whoever challenges him will win.
All you have to do is get the Belarusian mafia restaurant crowd and a few black churches, and he's in. That Belarusian and the Turks.
No black mayor of this city has gotten 2 terms. He's not getting a second term. And the ones who actually deserved a second term didn't get 2 terms.
I know.
He's not getting a second term.
All right. So I'm not horribly aware of Jonathan Majors. I saw his first film, which is great. What is it called? The Last Man in San Francisco?
The Last Man Standing. Yeah, that was a really good
great movie.
He's a great actor.
He is a really great actor. So I don't have to say allegedly now because he was convicted of smacking a girlfriend around.
No, that's not what. No. Those 2 charges. Charges. He was not convicted of.
All right, but he was convicted of something.
Yeah.
Which
I do kind of think is bullshit.
He's a Disney employee.
Well, X.
All right. But so oddly enough, where does he get to do his I can't believe this is happening on a Disney channel, which is ABC?
What? Can I just say this as someone who worked in entertainment and had artists doing different shit? The old school, let me go try to plead my case in an interview never fucking works. It's never good. It never works. And even though I think that this story is some bullshit, like her finger was bruised, but guess what? If you grab my phone and take it from me and I grab my phone back from you and your finger gets hurt, I'm not trying to beat you up, but you grab my phone, I have the right to grab my phone back. But the interview of him sitting there,
oh my God,
being like, I never hurt her body, I hurt her heart, and all of just the ridiculous.
And Coretta Scott Kinging.
Oh God!
How many times? Okay.
How many times? Like he's asked everybody to be Coretta. But now it's Megan, and I was just looking, and I'm like,
no.
Why are you doing this interview? Why are you doing this?
And he was shocked by the result. Well, obviously, I can safely say that if you don't think you did it, and you did, and you're convicted, then of course you will be shocked. Mm-hmm. So that's like, duh. Of course you're shocked. Yeah. Oh, Katt Williams has a great bit about him, about Megan Williams, like saving the slaves. And oh my God, Megan Williams, bless her heart. I mean, if they're actually a couple, that's great. But honey,
she was the preacher's wife 5 minutes ago, and now she's saving Jonathan Majors, who likes to dress like a sharecropper. I just don't understand.
No, and it's also just like this very, very what's the word? Not reactive, not redundant. I can't think of the word, but this idea that women are there to hold their men down. No, women are there to do what women want to do but she's like, she's Coretta-ing. Oh, he turned it into a verb. What does Coretta-ing mean?
It's just like, you know how you watch somebody and you're like, well, if you want to put the nail in your own coffin, sir,
you did it.
I can see the hammer in one hand and the dust flying away from the other, because what the fuck was this?
No, he's an idiot. All right. Can we go? All right. So Chuck D has spoke. First off, Chuck D has said that he thinks the criticism of Madonna, that racism is, it's like racism. Ageism is like racism. Okay. Number one, I'm stealing something I read on the Griot. Not really true, because we all get old. We don't all become a different race. Number one. Number two, I think at this point, first, and Madonna does not need anyone defending her because Madonna is very good at defending herself. I will say this, and you saw the show, but I will say this. I think we know she's not the dancer she used to be because she is older and she's had injuries. I think that if you were physically struggling, and you'd maybe not the show you saw, I think you're allowed to say it's because she's old. I think
but the
that's
thing is,
fair.
But it wasn't fair because she wasn't physically struggling. They took a close up of her in this box and the way she's dancing on the box and she's holding on to the bar.
Right.
That box is literally, I'm telling you,
It's up in the air, right?
It's really high in the air. It's almost at the top of the rig. So the way she's danced, anybody on that would be holding it because she's not hovering right above our heads. She was almost at the top of the fucking Barclays Center. And I don't think that that's fair to take some close-up of dance moves when you're flying across an arena and then being like, look at this. We don't do it to men.
Well,
right.
We'll
and what I felt like the Stones could be on stage, and I've seen like some of these older rock guys out there taking their shirts off, and people just love them. They don't comment on how old they are. And I feel like
with a dance act though.
But the problem is she's also a woman, and they honestly, the way the stuff is directed toward her, yes. We don't have to like the shit she's done to her body, but it's her body. And the way that stuff is directed toward her, I do feel like there's a lot of ageism. And you and I talked about this before, right? If you're in pop music, how dare you get old? Is
ageism akin to racism? That's where he loses the argument to me. Sorry. I mean, we all, like I said, the griot said, I think doing that belittles the impact of racism.
But I think the point he was trying to say to the person who's facing it, it can feel just as damaging, right?
Right.
It's like, because I feel ageism, like when I was really out there looking for a job, I felt when I was really hard, I started again, I was like 47. When I was like, okay, I'm not working with like my past situation anymore. I have all this experience. My shit is loaded. I'm thinking the offers have come left and right. And it felt like no one wanted to hire me at that age. And then as I got older and I tried looking for work, I mean, I had to create my own shit because it felt like at suddenly now 50 looking for a gig, no one wanted to hire me as a 50-year-old black man. That's just how I felt. And I have a bunch of friends who are in their 50s and men and black, and all of us have had to create our own spaces because nobody hired us. Now I have a couple of black female friends over 50 who've gotten jobs in companies, but none of the men. So there is an ageism thing that I see. And when I look at Madonna, like, they've always been comments about her, especially as she's gotten older. And I watched how with Confessions on the Dance Floor, which was one of her top albums, it was in 2005, and how pop radio here, she had hits all over the world, but they stopped playing her music like, well, you're old. So there's always been that thing targeted towards certain women. Now, Madonna doesn't help because she's always been an easy target with her antics and the shit that she likes to do. So I hear what he was trying to say. I was glad to hear somebody kind of take up for her. As someone black, I just don't think it's the same because I'm getting older and I feel like racism has been far more damaging.
Madonna doesn't need a man sticking up for her. Sorry, as much as I like Chuck and he's a great guy.
She doesn't, but guess what? Everybody wants somebody to stick up for them. Yeah. I don't think it's about a man. I think everybody, when you constantly feel attacked, it feels good to know that someone at least is speaking out on your behalf when everyone else seems to just have whole conversations about your body, about your face, about you being old. Madonna is 65. Tina Turner was on stage at 70. You know what I mean?
But nobody was commenting about Tina Turner.
Well, that's because people view Tina Turner as respectable. They reviewed
not respectable.
No. Absolutely. They viewed her as the queen and respectable, and everybody loved her. Madonna's always been a punching bag. Tina who's never been treated like a punching bag in the public.
So you may want to reword the word punching bag.
I'm talking about in the public. I'm not talking I'm talking about in the public. When you read, whenever people will review Tina, review her shows, it was never about her age. But if you notice with Madonna, they always talk about her age. Her age always comes up. She's my queen. I'm going to defend her, and we are not going to. There will be no Madonna slander because Madonna.
There will be Madonna slander.
No, there won't.
I think Madonna I do agree. I know about ageism, but Madonna, has decided to, you know what? Madonna can handle herself. She's not suffering Madonna is suffering backlash, not because she's old. It's because a lot of it is because what she has done, and not in terms of lyrically. I think it's like, stop having the conversation then, Madonna. Stop bringing it up. Stop making yourself a martyr. I mean,
but she didn't bring it up like other people have brought it up.
No, and she talks about
but why is it when somebody brings up what is happening to them, we get angry at them for bringing it up?
I'm not angry at her. I'm just tired of talking about her. Honestly, I just don't find. I mean, she's on a tour. It's doing really well. I hope she's fine. I mean, I can't say she seems like a nice person because she doesn't seem like.
Well, she doesn't seem like a nice person.
No, sorry.
I love that you caught that. Even I was like,
no. I just think it was.
She doesn't seem very nice.
No, she doesn't actually. It's a slow news week, and
the word Cher said it for decades. Cher was like, "Listen, I like Madonna, but she's mean."
Yeah, no, she's mean. She's a mean girl. Mm-hmm. Rage Against the Machine broke up. Okay,
again.
That's no surprise. But this is no surprise.
Right.
This is no surprise.
Right.
When your band is inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, which is a huge honor, and none of them show up.
Did none of them show? Tom
Morello did. Right. I think that there's some sort of internal and I've seen them live once. They were great. Mm-hmm. I know people who saw the last tour said it was phenomenal. They broke up. I mean, they've been around for a long time. I mean, bands have an expiration date, mm-hmm. and I think that and also Zach was injured and couldn't perform.
Has he ever put out solo work?
Zach?
Uh-huh.
No. Tom Morello, I think, has done some stuff with Springsteen and stuff like that.
Right. Tom Morello's always playing and doing something. I've seen him around.
He's a guitar player. It's easier to get the gig when you're a really good guitar player.
Right.
I don't see this as being surprising. They are older. I can't imagine that Zach, he puts on a very energetic show.
But it felt like some personal behind the scenes shit the way it was.
It's very possible that they're going in different kind of directions. I mean, mm-hmm. we have to keep in mind, I mean, these bands started when they were teenagers, basically.
Right. Right.
I mean, the reason
are they New York based? Are they a New York based band?
No, I think they're West. They're not New York. They're not New York. They may be West Coast. I think that
I can't name a Rage Against, and I have their album. I cannot name a Rage Against the Machine song.
You notice that every time we make up a playlist and we have to put them in, I put the same song. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be mean. Because I have nothing against
and I even have to ask, what song is that?
Bulls on Parade, I think it's called. And I'm not trying to be mean because I've heard they're phenomenal live. Mm-hmm. I've seen them live. I saw them live at their peak when they were, when everybody was healthy, and he's a great guitar player, and he's a great singer, and they're really important. They've done great stuff, but no, I can't name a song in there. I mean, that one song. I mean, it's really ridiculous. If you notice, every time I have to make up a playlist, I'm like frantically searching.
I love that I'm always sitting a song. You're like, you've already put that song on
yeah. No, I take them out. I just go. I'm just like, you can't cheat and say no, but this is the Dutch remix. No, same goddamn song, Courtney. Sorry, I can't.
But it's the Dutch remix.
It's the Dutch remix. Yeah. Oh, it's big in the Benelux country. Okay. I think it's great. I'm not a Broadway person. I mean, not that I wouldn't go to Broadway, but Nicole, please, how do you pronounce it?
Scherzinger.
Yeah, I've read reviews of people I know who know this stuff. It's supposed to be phenomenal.
Well, let me just tell you this.
She's doing Sunset Boulevard, Andrew Lloyd Webber,
and it's
a very minimalist, stripped down.
It's by the same director, Jamie Lloyd, who just directed the revival of A Doll's House that Jessica Chastain did, a very successful
which got very mixed reviews.
Actually. Yeah, it did, but it was a successful production.
Yeah.
But the performances were I love Sunset Boulevard. I love Sunset Boulevard. Fred will tell you how obsessed I was when it first came to Broadway, and I went to see it, and I have all my cast. I have the London cast album with Patti LuPone. I have the American cast albums with Betty Buckley, and I have the Glenn Close one. I have the one with Petula Clark. I have the Canadian cast album with Diane Carroll, and I used to sing the whole thing and drive him crazy, literally sing the whole thing. Sunset Boulevard coming back, but this time with Nicole Swizzle Sticks. I'm like, I've heard that she sings the house down. So for that alone.
No, I've heard it's phenomenal.
I'm so in there.
Yeah, no.
I'm so in there.
So, yay for her.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to switch. I'm going to switch things, and we're going to have to me, it's not an item when somebody says that something is happening and then someone says it's not happening. Brittany says she's not recording an album. Okay.
Right.
And I'm not recording an album either.
Mm-hmm. Because first there was rumors. There's all these rumors. The first day was Charlie XCX's writing
and
songs for the new Britney Spears album. The next day is Britney Spears, I will never return to the music industry. The next day is RCA is trying to get Britney to record an album. It's like... At this point,
by the way, have you watched that Hollywood Reporter roundtable with songwriters? It's really, really good.
I love those roundtables. It is.
No,
good.
They're really good. The actor one is good too. And Andrew Scott, aka Hot Priest.
Who's Hot Priest?
You didn't watch Fleabag?
I hated that show.
Oh, okay, because you're a man. That's why. No, that's because you're
the attack just came.
No, it's because you're a man. No, it really is. It's
I know because I have a bunch of my members who loved it. I don't know why it did not resonate with me. I love that show. It did not resonate. He
plays
with me
Hot
at
Priest,
all.
And that's what the character is called, Hot Priest.
That's hilarious.
And it's very hot. And there's a very funny bit on the Graham Norton show where he's the guest and Paloma Faith, who I adore.
I like Paloma Faith too, yeah.
And a couple, Stephen Frears, one straight guy, two gay guys, and Paloma Faith literally going on how she masturbated to Hot Priest and she loved him. And then she says, and the sad thing is that everyone on this couch has a better chance with him than I do. Well, anyway, that's a great one. And he talks about banning the phrase openly gay, which he thinks it's ridiculous.
I mean, what does that even fucking mean?
It means
like,
nothing.
I'm sorry, what does that mean?
I'm openly white.
What, are you opening swatting dicks? I don't understand what that means.
I don't know what it means.
What does that mean?
All right. Speaking of men that we love who are doing great things, and see, this is why, Courtney, we cannot dismiss a team the first game. We can dismiss them at the last team, but the Knicks are doing...
they kind of won every game since but you know who else has been fucking balling out of control? RJ Barrett.
Well, you know what? Maybe this is a good trade.
I think maybe him going home is giving him a little more consistency, and he's close to his family.
This is not, it's not an exact science. And sometimes it's psychological. It's like, why is it that you go out with a guy for years and he's horrible, and then you break up, and then the first woman he meets, he gets married and everything's perfect?
No, because everybody always thinks everything's perfect, but he's still that dick. She's just dealing with all his dickisms. Right. And it looks like...
Or you get older and stuff. But, so again, the Knicks they're doing better than the Nets.
No,
what are they, fourth? They're fourth in the conference now?
But listen. I think
they're fourth.
I mean, watching them win these games, and as it gets close, and I'm like, this is what I want to see. I want to see real competition, you know. And
I'm sure they want to see it too.
And they still got some moves to make, right? So we'll see what happens before the trade deadline is done. And
look, the only thing that is keeping every New Yorker who's a basketball fan from loving this team is James Dolan. As soon as James Dolan hopefully leaves the room and they let Charles Oakley back, he's keeping quiet. But the point is that he is still the stench in the room.
But the good thing is at least he's been out there dealing with his spear and all of that. And he's kind of not been at the Garden sticking his foot in it.
But they gotta let Oakley back in, for crying out loud.
Well, I thought that ban is over. He's just not.
He's still got the facial recognition bullshit going on, I think. So it's really hard. That is what everybody I know who's a basketball fan who grew up with the Knicks. That is the sticking point. And it's like he's a horrible human being.
I get a lot of nods. Yesterday I had on my Knicks cap when I was running to the market, and people like point and nod like.
Oh yeah, people like the Knicks, and the Nets we know are bullshit team. All right. What are you listening to?
Nothing has come out.
I know that.
It's been the same old shit. Like what have I been listening to?
Well, nothing has come out.
No, literally no. Like nothing. There's been nothing new.
Like next week, stuff is going to start dropping.
So I've been just listening to the same old shit. Yesterday, I put on a bunch of Rufus and Shaka Khan. Started listening to those albums.
I've been listening to a lot of Shaka too.
And I've also been digging back to Pet Shop Boys, and I've been listening to some of those. I know, right? It's like listening to some of their albums and just chilling out. And then because
never made a bad album, never made a bad album.
And then because of the resurgence of Tracy Spencer and Shawnice Wilson, who just did a great interview on They both were on Star Search. They both were young people who put out albums in the 80s. Really mature albums, really great albums. I started listening to Tracy's albums again, and her music still sounds great. And that first Shanice album, Discovery, still sounds great. So I've kind of been just looking at what's old is new again, right? Some of these other podcasts and video podcasts, watching them, and then that's been making me go and listen to a lot of artists. Oh, and then I played that Remy Shand album again. Let me just tell you
right?
something.
Harry Wenger for president.
That album is so fucking good. It's amazing that he only did one album because he's super talented. And I was like, yo, this album
he's really good.
Still sounds fucking great.
No, I have to go back and listen to it too.
It could come out today and it would be like completely contemporary, you know?
Harry, we love you. I started listening to, I've had Mary J on my mind a lot, so but I listened to the London Sessions, which I haven't listened to in a while. And that's a really good record.
Yeah.
And it's a really good record because she never really, she was huge in the United States, obviously. Well, huge-ish, but she never really clicked in London until like maybe Family Affair.
That's the one I think that really clicked
and her.
over
If you want to see the performance of a lifetime, watch her on Jules Holland, because Mary is one of those people that every time she performs on television, which is not a great medium, it's as though she will never be able to perform again.
Mm-hmm.
She is full out.
Well, we've talked about that from My Life Too, that her cover of Someone to Love, which she sang that on Jules Holland while he played the piano.
Oh, that's amazing. Well, this is one No More Drama. Her version of No More. No, she's young at that point and she's hungry.
Let me just tell you something. That whole album period, and now you're going to make me pull that album out.
All right. But that's a great album.
Really good album. That's a really good album.
Yeah, it's a really good album. I hadn't listened to it for a while. It's a great album.
Ooh, that's good. That's going to be my soundtrack for today. Thanks for that.
That's a good album. It's a good album. I love Paul Young. I always go back and listen to those.
Do you like Paul Young?
Okay, I really like Paul Young a lot. Even though inexplicably he covered Love Will Tear Us Apart again, and I will defend the cover, even though it's like the most bananas idea to cover Love Will Tear Us Apart again, especially as like sort of a new wavy kind of. But great interpretive singer. And I used to, I still do, I guess, but I used to love Dwight Yoakam. Love. Oh, yeah.
I grew up listening to Dwight Yoakam because, I grew up in a house where we played country music.
Yeah, but he was like country, like that's what was that moment when it was like that country punk kind of switch, it was like the Blasters and him and Steve Earle and Trisha Yearwood to some extent. But I've been listening to Gone, which is one of my favorite albums of his, and I've seen him perform, and he's great. So I've just been listening. He's kind of, I don't know if he's making music as much. He became an actor. Was doing acting for a while, but with the little tight pants, and he's kind of styled himself kind of rock and roll. That kind of, before they were calling it Americana, I guess he was sort of. It was, what was it called? It was like alt country. That's what they were calling it. The beginning was like Steve Earle, him, Vince Gill to some extent.
You want to talk about a singing motherfucker? Vince Gill. Okay. Ooh, baby. Vince Gill sings the house boots down.
Oh, my God. Vince Gill. Well, Roseanne Cash was part of this, and he was in Roseanne Cash's band for years. Sings and is a phenomenal guitar player.
Yeah. And a great songwriter.
Phenomenal. Yeah. No, he's and appears to be, and is married to Amy Grant, of all people. All right. So, yay. Take us out.
You know what it is. It's 2024.
Now, even Vince Gill doesn't talk like that. Oh, I just want to say, I just read an interview somewhere with a black art. I have to find it, where they were saying their vocal inspiration for their album was Vince Gill.
Well, listen.
And I understand that.
Vince Gill sings with soul, and that voice, he can really sing. He can really sing.
I Still Believe in You is one of my favorite songs ever.
He can really. You know who else could really sing? Fucking Kenny Rogers. Kenny Rogers, I loved Kenny's voice. I love
the material was not crazy about, but Vince Gill, I liked.
Voice. And Conway Twitty. I loved Conway Twitty's voice.
Right. Yeah, and all those guys were singers. There's no doubt about it. Did I ever tell you my Merle Haggard story?
No. Did you meet Merle Haggard?
Not only did I meet him, Courtney. So Tramps. He was performing at Tramps. This is back when
Shout
I was
out to motherfucking Tramps.
The best.
The best both shows in the world.
Best.
I saw
Steve
Shaka
Weinstein.
Khan at Tramps.
Oh, I saw everybody there. Yeah. Everybody. Gap Band. Everybody. I saw Ike Turner there.
Wow.
Yeah, no, it was great. Great show. Tribe, everybody. All right, so this is back when I was capital A, capital L, Amy Linden. And the doorman there used to watch 4 and 4 and always let me in. He was great. So I went to see Merle Haggard. This is such a great story. And they had that little side room where they had like the parties and the food and stuff like that. So I'd get invited to that. And somebody's like, do you want to meet Merle Haggard? I'm like, oh, duh. Of course I want to meet. He's a legend. So they bring me over to meet Merle Haggard. He's a little man, short man. And I say, hi, Mr. Haggard. Really, it's an honor to meet you. When I was like 19 or 18, this is true. I had a little duo and I used to sing Mama Tried. And he turned to me and he had his arm around me. He goes, you are a girl singer? And I proceeded to melt into the floor. My friend had to scoop me up, put me back into human form. No, I was like, oh my God, Merle Haggard just called me a girl singer.
You're like, I've made it.
I'm done.
I'm done. Made it.
I'm done. Done.
Girl, motherfucking singer.
Were you a girl singer? And I'm like, yes, I was.
You're like, yes. Yes, I was.
I was Merle Haggard. I sang Mama Tried when I was 18 years old. All right. Continue to take us out. Sorry.
You know what it is, people. Follow us every week at the Pantheon Podcast Network, where you can join us and really an assortment of amazing music shows and every type of genre, including a really great series on Metallica called The Metallica Report.
So good.
So good. Like, even I listen and I'm learning things. It's like, really, I know of Metallica. I have a couple of their records. You can't
name a song. You can name Enter Sandman. That's it.
And it's like, but really kind of digging into all of this information. And I'm realizing, one, that they're a lot more musical than I thought. Their music is really intricate. And the songwriting, stuff that I never really thought about with them. I just thought about them as, a hard rock band. But then when I kind of start digging in, I'm like, wow, there's a lot here with them. Anyway, yeah. So, you know what to do. Follow us, tell a friend, follow us on our Facebook at ImmaLetYouFinish, all one word, or IG, ImmaLetYouFinish NY, or ImmaLetYouFinish Podcast at TikTok. And we're on Threads at ImmaLetYouFinish NY, and we'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.
Hey, this is Liberty DeVito.
This is Mike Del Giudice.
This is Michael Cavanaugh from Broadway's Moving Out.
This is John Jackson, director of the Billy Joel Archive.
This is Russell Javers.
This is Richie Cannata, and you're listening to Glass Houses, a Billy Joel podcast. It's awesome.
I'm Michael Grosvenor.
And I'm Jack Fernino.
We're lifelong Billy Joel fans who launched a podcast in 2020 celebrating the music we love.
Whether you're looking for the greatest hits or the B-sides and rarities, you'll find it all here. And if you've ever wondered what happens behind the scenes of a concert or recording session, we've got you covered.
Join us as we explore albums, tours, band members, the latest news, and more. You'll also get a unique glimpse into the music industry straight from the musicians and other professionals who help make it all happen.
Tune into Glass Houses, a Billy Joel podcast at GlassHousesPod.com or wherever you get your podcasts.
Glass Houses, a Billy Joel podcast is a proud member of the Pantheon Podcasts Network.